Little did her fans know, shockingly, this beautiful biker was actually a 50-year-old man named Yasuo Nakajima.
Hey, what it be? It's your boy Dre OG. Welcome back to the OG family. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you're rocking with the vibes and the content. But today we got the people who embarrassingly expose themselves. You know, people do that on a daily, man. This shit is entertaining, man. And for people like us, we sit back and watch and discuss these things. And this video is made for entertainment and educational purposes. Let's go ahead and run this thing up and let's hop into this video without further ado.
They say the truth will set you free. But for con men and crooks, the truth is their worst enemy, leaving them locked up behind bars or shamed by society. Today we're going to discuss a collection of fraudsters who accidentally exposed themselves, revealing their own lies, crimes, and scams. From fake cancer patients to the world's most infamous lip syncers, let's take a look at the people who took their lies too far, exposing themselves in the process. Blind Man's Bluff. In 2008, a man named John Caltabiano from the town of Catskill, New York, decided to play a very literal game of Blind Man's Bluff. John tried to rob the government blind, pretending that he completely lost his vision in a workplace accident, a scam that could have earned him up to $1.3 million in welfare. His claims were backed up by his girlfriend, and when it came time to submit his claim, she took John's arm and slowly guided him into the courtroom, part of a convincing act that fooled the judge. While John was awarded the first cash installment, he should have kept his functioning eyes peeled, as he failed to realize that from the moment he won the case, he was being closely watched by two private investigators. The fraud agent spotted John walking around on his own, peering through a shop window, and driving around completely unassisted, exposing himself and his girlfriend as able-sided crooks. In the eyes of the law, John had committed fraud, and the court sentenced him to 4 years in prison. His girlfriend was only sentenced to 3 years of probation, which, all things considered, was a stroke of blind luck. Looking back, John probably should have waited a little bit longer before hopping in the car and spending his ill-gotten gains. I guess hindsight's 20/20, but then again, so's John's vision.
I mean, look at his eye though. It did look like something was wrong with that shit though. Like, I ain't gonna cap. That's fucked up, man. Look, it is what it is. He was faking it.
Hilary Baldwin. Hilary Baldwin is an American yoga instructor, entrepreneur, and author. Notice how I said American? Well, before 2020, Hilaria had risen to fame as actor Alec Baldwin's Spanish wife. Her agent's website said that she was born in Mallorca, and she claimed she only moved from Spain to New York when she was 19. In interviews, she spoke with a thick Spanish accent, and in one cooking segment on the Today Show, Hilaria even seemed to forget the English word for cucumber. However, people on the internet soon noticed that her Spanish accent was very inconsistent, and journalists began looking into her background. Hilaria heavily implied that her family were Spanish, but it turned out her very American parents had been interviewed previously. They'd gone on record saying that the family only moved to Spain in 2011 when Hilaria was 27, and explained that their family doesn't have one iota of Latin blood. Hilaria's old school friends soon spilt the Tolosa beans too, revealing that Hilaria's real name is Hilary, and she was born and raised in Boston, not Barcelona. In December 2020, Hilary finally admitted to her lack of Spanish heritage on Instagram, but she also doubled down, describing herself as culturally fluid, attempting to justify her actions by talking about her family's deep love for Spain and its culture.
Was she still talking like that, though?
Hilary and Spanish culture only have one thing in common: a whole bunch of bull. Heydrich blew it. The 1980s were a strange time for a wide array of reasons, one of them being the popularity of James Heydrich. He was a self-proclaimed psychic who went on stage in mystical pajamas, flipping through the pages of books with his mind. The neon-wearing public of the 80s ate it up, until James Heydrich was challenged by James Randi, a magician who made a career out of exposing fake psychics. Randi offered Heydrich $10,000 to prove that his powers were real on an episode of That's My Line, and the money-hungry Heydrich threw on his robe, combed his bowl cut, and rose to the challenge. Randi placed packing peanuts around the book to catch whether Heydrich was blowing to turn the pages, and this was the result. Yikes. Heydrich later claimed that he couldn't do the trick as the packing peanuts and the lights in the studio were causing electrical interference. But it was clear that the peanuts were simply interfering with his ability to lie. All that talk of psychic powers, yet he couldn't predict his own humiliation in the most public way possible.
That's crazy. You gotta be a serial killer if you show up and you know you lying.
If Hollywood's taught me anything,
Crazy.
it's that bank robberies require a ragtag team of criminals, 3 or 4 confusing plot twists, and a jaded ex-con who's coming back for one last score. But it turns out heists don't always require so much planning. In 2021, the doors on an armored truck malfunctioned in San Diego, swinging open and leaving a trail of cash spread out across the freeway. When drivers came across the scene, most of them pulled over, immediately taking the opportunity to hop out of their cars and fill their pockets. Demi Bagby uploaded videos of the scene to TikTok, showing herself picking up bundles of cash and throwing them around. She also filmed other people scrambling on their hands and knees to gather handfuls of money. It sounds like the perfect crime, but according to the cops, finders keepers isn't legally binding.
Oh.
California Highway Patrol have stated that this footage is evidence of theft, and the TikTok video may result in several people going to jail. Bagby claims she didn't take any money with her, but if she did pocket some cash, her own TikTok account may act as the case's star witness.
Stupid. Like, why do y'all feel the need to record everything? Like, that's what's wrong with people. That's what's wrong with society right now, bro. We're losing our identity, man, because we cannot be people anymore. Because all everybody want to do is catch this shit on their video, bro, so they can upload it to the internet. But that's crazy, bro. Y'all doing shit like that. Now they know who y'all are, dummies.
Babies. Becca Booshausen is a once successful blogger who spun a worldwide web of lies. In 2009, she claimed to be pregnant, stating that her unborn child had holoprosencephaly, a rare disorder which would likely result in a stillbirth. Her story went viral, well-wishers flooding to Becca's blog to offer support. The blog was heartbreaking, tragic, and completely made up. Becca wasn't pregnant at all. She'd invented her child for a bit of attention. Regardless, Becca started to ask her audience for more than thoughts and prayers, requesting gifts and money to help support her. The gifts flooded in, but this scam had a use-by date, and as the 9-month mark drew closer and closer, Becca started to panic. When full term arrived, she bought an ultra-realistic baby doll and posted a photo of it, stating that her miracle baby April Rose had survived the birth, only to pass away hours later. Most of her fans believed it, apart from Elizabeth Russell, a woman who coincidentally owned the same doll. Russell instantly realized April Rose was fake, so she created her own blog to expose Booshausen's lies.
Why does she own that doll, though?
As the truth started to come out, she was forced to come clean. She admitted she'd become addicted to the attention the blog had given her, and once she started getting 100,000 hits a week, the lies just got out of hand. This scandal may have ruined Becca's reputation, but for some other scammers, she was seemingly an inspiration. In 2019, Casey and Jeffrey Lang of Pennsylvania copied Becca, stuffing a pillow down Casey's shirt and buying a realistic doll to invent a fake pregnancy and the subsequent death of their fake child. The Langs then started a GoFundMe page to pay for a personalized urn and to plant a tree in their baby's honor, attempting to steal the money for themselves. However, after a tip from one of the Langs' friends, the police contacted local hospitals and funeral homes, discovering that the Langs' baby had never existed. The cops then raided the Langs' house, immediately discovering the fake baby doll and busting the phony parents. They were forced to repay the well-wishers, and when the Langs stood in court charged with theft, I'm sure they cried like real babies.
That shit wild though, bro. Y'all out here that desperate, bro. That's the lowest you can get right there, if you ask me. That's real low right there. And it's stupid at the same time, bro. That's stupid.
Biker babe?
You can't make this shit up.
From blurred out blemishes to drag and drop dinners, a lot of influencers like to exaggerate the truth, forming close working relationships with photo editing software. Out of all these influencers, the Catfish Queen is undoubtedly Soya no Sohi, a dishonest tweeter who accidentally exposed a huge secret on Twitter. Soya is a motorbike enthusiast who created a Twitter account in 2019, quickly amassing an audience of over 20,000 followers as she uploaded pictures of her impressive motorbike collection and a smattering of selfies. Little did her fans know, shockingly, this beautiful biker was actually a 50-year-old man named Yasuo Nakajima, using a face-swapping app to create an entirely new online identity.
I kind of noticed that from the first picture, yeah.
It worked perfectly.
I know
until
it looked
Yasuo
weird.
posted a photo of his motorbike, failing to realize that his unedited face was visible in the bike's rearview mirror. Just like that, Yasuo was exposed and the man behind the woman was revealed. So what came next for Yasuo?
Oh, that's
Embarrassment?
weird.
Public shame? Not exactly. Despite being exposed as a fake, Yasuo continues to post as a woman, and surprisingly, Soya's following has only increased, now boasting over 36,000 dedicated followers, even though she doesn't technically exist. To be fair to Yasuo, it isn't all smoke and mirrors. That flowing hair is all his, and arguably, those luscious locks deserve every follower he gets.
I mean, look.
Mom's the word.
Hey, be yourself, G, because look, it's always somebody out here to follow you. I'm telling you. Just if you a weirdo, just look, man. Don't be down on yourself, man. Somebody gonna follow you. That's a pure example of that. People know of her being or him being like that, and
Jordan
Can't make
Cheyenne
this shit
is
up.
a beauty vlogger whose career turned ugly when she accidentally uploaded the wrong video to her YouTube channel. When their family dog was diagnosed with a deadly disease, Cheyenne made a heart-wrenching video with her 9-year-old child, the mother and son both in tears as they described the tragedy from the front seat of Cheyenne's car. As the video came to a close, Jordan said goodbye and placed a hand over the camera. But in the unedited video she uploaded by mistake, she could be seen removing her hand, the camera still rolling, and what happened next shocked her fans and ruined her career.
I love you guys. Bye. Come here. Come closer for the video. Come closer. Come closer. Come closer. Put your head right here. Come closer. Closer. Down. Put your head down here. Act like you're crying. Really quick.
crazy.
Put your hand like this. But let them see your mouth. Let them see your mouth.
Wow.
Look at me. Look at me. I know. Look at me. Look at me. Look at the camera. Look at the camera.
The world watched on as Cheyenne forced her crying son to pose for the camera just to create a thumbnail that would gain the video some extra views on YouTube. The backlash was instant as her fans were unable to believe that she would exploit her child and her sick dog for attention with seemingly no real remorse or emotion. Cheyenne apologized, but her reputation was ruined and she eventually deleted her channel and moved away from social media.
Thank you.
Hopefully now she'll worry more about her actual son than the opinions of strangers online.
Wow, that's crazy. Look, man, I'm gonna be real with y'all. That shit is a disease. I think that is a new disease, like this social media fame stuff. Like, so for some people, it really gets to your head, and they do anything for that view. That's why it took me such a long time to get in the mode to me even opening up to do like all type of material and stuff like that, because of that right there. You know, like, you know, that's the only channels that grow type shit. They be doing all this fake stuff and then all of a sudden, boom, everybody's watching. That's like selling your soul. You can't get up every day and do that. They be pimping out their kids, man, for views and stuff. Like, it is what it is. I guess that's what y'all tolerate on here.
Swerving the Curve.
I won't do that to
2018
mine.
documentary Behind the Curve aimed to expose members of the Flat Earth community, but in the end, the documentary team needn't have bothered. Once the cameras were rolling, the Flat Earthers did a pretty good job of exposing themselves, conducting 2 experiments that proved their own conspiracy theories wrong. First, the Flat Earthers spent $20,000 on a ring laser gyroscope. Inside this high-tech gyroscope, 2 lasers are fired in opposite directions around a ring, both racing towards a sensor. As the speed of light is always the same in a vacuum, the light beams always hit the sensor at the same time, unless the ring is rotating. If the gyroscope is rotating in one direction, then the sensor will be spinning towards one of the lasers, meaning that that laser will hit the sensor earlier than the other one, which can be measured by a shift in frequency between the 2 beams.
That shit
That
done
means
lost some
that
of
if
y'all,
you
didn't it?
place the gyroscope on an object, it can use this race between the lasers to measure whether the object rotates and how quickly it spins. With sophisticated versions of these gyroscopes, you can trace the rotation of the Earth itself, which measures a rotation of 360 degrees every 24 hours, or 15 degrees in 1 hour. Flat Earthers disagree, believing that the Earth is a stationary flat disk, so by their logic, a gyroscope shouldn't measure
How many of y'all believe
rotation.
that?
Surprise, surprise, after an hour, the gyroscope used by Behind the Curve's Flat Earthers displayed a rotation of 15 degrees, disproving their own beliefs and flushing $20,000 straight down the drain. Luckily, the Flat Earthers admitted their mistake, changed their ways, and became upstanding members of the scientific community. Just kidding. They argued that the $20,000 gyroscope wasn't good enough and heaven energies from the sky interfered with the equipment. So they decided to conduct a second experiment. They set up 2 boards on a completely flat plane of land, drilling a hole through them at exactly 17 feet above sea level. A flat earther called Henrique stood 3 miles away on the same flat plane of land, shining a powerful torch at the boards. If the earth was flat, then when Henrique held the light at 17 feet above sea level, it should shine straight forward and pass through both of the holes. However, the earth is actually round, and over 3 miles, the earth will curve down approximately 6 feet. This means that to make the light shine through the holes, Henrique would have to hold the torch 6 feet higher to accommodate for this curve. Predictably, when Henrique held the torch at 17 feet, the light didn't shine through, until another flat earther reluctantly told him to raise the torch high above his head and let there be light. To their credit, the flat earthers had managed to conduct some real scientific experiments, but unfortunately for them, science did what it does best: prove that Mother Earth is pretty curvy. Crouching black belt, hidden fraud. Becoming a kung fu master takes determination, dedication, and
I mean, I hope y'all still ain't out here thinking that the earth is flat though. We not even gonna have that conversation. That's why I just like watched it and try to understand more about life, you know, with an open mind. Come on, y'all. I stopped the bull.
decades of hard
Sound
practice.
crazy.
Or a couple of lies and a fake black belt. Bruce Silva is a supposed black belt who showed off his skills on Hawaii News Now in 2016, promoting an upcoming kung fu showcase. Silva was supposed to chop through a row of blocks, allegedly made of solid concrete. But early on in the showcase, news anchor Steve Uehara accidentally interfered.
Felt these bricks. These are real bricks. I mean, there's no joke.
Turns out, whatever the bricks were made from, Uehara was
I've
able to
seen that
break them
before.
with a light tap. The show went from awesome to awkward, and despite being exposed as a fraud, a red-cheeked Silva continued the rest of the segment.
Oh, that's crazy.
Sorry, Bruce, but that headbutt seems a lot less impressive now.
He thought he
Belle
thought he had him
Gibson.
a real ninja, didn't
Elle
he?
Gibson was Elle Magazine Australia's most inspiring woman of 2014, overcoming cancer, cardiac arrest, and a brain tumor. All she claimed through a combination of health foods and natural therapies. She'd partnered with Apple and signed a book deal with Penguin, telling her inspirational story in a mobile app and companion cookbook, The Whole Pantry. However, it turned out that while Gibson had been drinking kale smoothies and eating avocados, she'd been feeding the public baloney. And just 4 months later, the world discovered that everything she'd said was a complete lie. The first signs of dishonesty came when Gibson started fundraising, taking $300,000 from her fans to donate to a specific set of charities. Unfortunately, the charities soon revealed they'd never received any of the money, and when Gibson started driving around in a luxury car, people put 2 and 2 together.
Ooh.
Soon, people from Gibson's past began to speak out, claiming that her struggle with cancer was made up too. Journalists followed these claims, soon discovering an old brain scan from 2011, which, coupled with other mounting evidence, strongly suggested that Belle had never had a tumor, and that she was totally healthy. As the pressure mounted, Gibson confessed, and she was found guilty of misleading and deceptive conduct, and fined $300,000. Gibson went from hero to villain, but for
Wow.
one fraudster in the UK, Belle's crime
That's
sparked
just
an
crazy.
idea. Following Gibson's lead, Tony Standen raised over $11,000 on GoFundMe in 2015 so that she and her fiancé could have their dream wedding before she died of terminal cancer. But of course, Tony didn't have cancer. Standen lied to her family and friends, shaving her head and pretending to be terminally ill for 5
Not
years.
with the patches.
Everybody thought Tony was dying, but after the wedding, she admitted the truth to her closest friends, thinking that she could trust them. Showing good moral character, though, her friends immediately shared the news and Standen was exposed, spending 5 months in jail for fraud.
Wow.
Standen might have alienated her friends, family, and new husband, but hey, I reckon the story would have made Belle pretty proud. Flop stars. For a brief period in the late 80s,
You want to know what though? They sat in the crib, bro, and thought of that whole damn stupid ass plan, bro. Like, look, how low can you go on this video? I was thinking that I think still the woman with those doing that to the kid, but that right there is those are 1 and 2. You can those are the same for me. They on the same level. How y'all feel in the comments down below? I feel like they're the same level. Can't get no
Milli
lower than
Vanilli
that.
were one of the biggest musical acts in the world. Fab Morvan and Rob Pilatus were known for catchy songs and killer dance moves. but nowadays they're famous for fraud, becoming figureheads for one of the largest scandals in music history. In 1988, music manager Frank Farian recorded a song with a group of American singers and released it under the name Milli Vanilli. As Girl You Know It's True climbed the charts in England, Farian discovered two backup dancers, Rob and Fab, living in Munich. The duo looked like models, knew how to dance, and were desperate for money. In other words, they were perfect for Farian's scam, and he cast them as the faces of the band, letting them lip sync at the concerts and act like they sung all the songs.
This shit crazy.
Within 2 years, Milli Vanilli had 3 #1 singles and a Grammy Award for Best Newcomer. Rob and Fab had become world-famous pop stars without singing a single note.
Right.
But as Milli Vanilli grew larger, the truth started to come out. Firstly, the pseudo-singer spoke with thick German and French accents, while the real singers behind Milli Vanilli sung the songs like born and raised New Yorkers. Every time the duo were interviewed, they struggled to pronounce the names of their own songs, drawing suspicion from journalists. In 1989, while performing Girl You Know It's True in Connecticut, the backing track jammed, looping the same few seconds over and over. Rob and Fab stopped lip-singing, but their voices continued, booming the words Girl You Know It's over and over again, exposing their fraud to a crowd of 80,000 fans. Eventually, the guilt became too much for Fab and Rob, and they confessed to everything at a public press conference. Their Grammy was revoked, and 27 lawsuits were filed in the United States from outraged fans, claiming that the group and Frank Farian had committed fraud. After that, as the decades passed, Girl You Know It's True no longer had the same ring to it, seeing as, Girl, we know it's false. Hiding upwards. Meet Falcon Heaney, otherwise known as
Hey, look. Y'all wanna know what's crazy about that shit though? Do y'all see how crazy they was dressing and shit? They was borderline like women, right? And now, all of a sudden, they thinking that they pressing these people. It's been like this the whole time, y'all. It's been like this the whole time, bro. Like Milli and Vanilli was huge back in the day, but then when they found out them niggas wasn't singing that song, they burnt them damn CDs in the middle of the damn Times Square and shit. I remember. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. But it's been like this, man. Like, music industry is crazy. You ain't gotta have no talent nowadays to make it for real. All you gotta do is have somebody with enough money behind you to push you.
Boy, a 6-year-old who
about
became the
talent no
center
more.
of a huge news story involving the National Guard, Wife Swap USA, and a giant silver balloon. In 2009, Richard and Mayumi Heaney told the police that, in a bizarre accident, their son Falcon had become trapped inside a giant helium balloon which had been inadvertently released and was flying through the sky above Colorado. The National Guard deployed their helicopters, tracking Falcon for 60 miles until the balloon crashed into an empty field. Everybody held their breath, but when police searched the crash site, Falcon was nowhere to be found. Shortly after, a relieved Richard Heaney made an announcement. Falcon had been found hiding in a cardboard box in the rafters above their garage, and he'd been pulling a prank on his parents the entire time. Falcon's practical joke resulted in widespread media attention, but some people started to suggest that the whole thing might have been a hoax. It turns out that the Heaneys were no strangers to media attention. The family had appeared on Wife Swap USA twice, and Richard had recently tried to pitch a reality TV show to TLC about his wacky family. After allegations of fraud started to circulate, the truth was exposed during a shocking interview on CNN. Richard asked Falcon, "Why didn't you come out of the garage?" And Falcon replied, "You guys said we did this for the show," exposing his parents in front of the entire country. With this confession and Richard's past, the authorities realized that Richard had made the Balloon Boy story up to generate media attention, hoping it might finally get the family their own reality TV show. Well, reality finally set in when Richard was sentenced to 90 days in jail and $36,000 in restitution, covering the cost of deploying the helicopters and police force as they chased after the empty balloon. The Heaneys' entire plan relied on a 6-year-old's ability to lie on live TV, but unfortunately, when it came to honesty, Falcon didn't take after his father.
That shit crazy.
iPhone.
You know what? That's that sickness once again. That's that sickness, man. Y'all chasing after this fame and shit, man. Make sure you morally standing like on your grounds. You know what I'm saying? You gotta still have morals, man. Cause if you don't have morals and then you get famous and you get all this money, man, it's not gonna go well for you. But if you humble yourself and you get you some morals, man, for that, look, man, sky's the limit for you. Money ain't for everybody. It'll destroy you.
This is Alexander Voloshin,
Just as much to help
a
you grow.
selfless influencer who gave a little girl an iPhone out of the kindness of his own heart before uploading the heartwarming exchange on TikTok in 2021. Unfortunately, the little girl's mother also had a video to share, uploading a behind-the-scenes clip that showed what really occurred after Alexander had finished shooting.
Сейчас ребенок расстроится, плакать будет. Так нельзя делать. Нет, не отдавай. Нет, нет. Так уже не будет. Давайте вызовем полицию. Нет.
Дай телефон, пожалуйста. Что происходит?
Oh man.
After his video wraps up, Alexander immediately tries to take the phone back from the girl, telling her it was only a prop for the TikTok. He offers her $70 to give it back, but the mother turns it down, causing him to resort to ripping the phone out of the youngster's hand and fleeing the scene off camera. Alexander might have gotten the iPhone back, but he'll never recover his reputation.
No.
His decision to upload the original TikTok, trying to shamelessly paint himself as a hero, resulted in an enormous backlash, and he has since deleted his TikTok and Instagram.
Of course he should
I
have.
wonder if losing all his fans was worth one iPhone. I hope it was the newest model.
That
Mixed
disease
messages.
again, yo.
In 2017, the
Crazy.
chief of police in Tampa, Florida, held a very important press conference discussing the capture of a dangerous criminal. The chief was backed up by a team of policemen, Tampa's mayor, and Derlyn Roberts, the event's sign language interpreter. As the chief recounted shocking details of the crime, citizens around Tampa watched on in horror, but members of Tampa's deaf community were left scratching their heads when Derlyn started throwing out a mix of gibberish signs, random words, and what seemed like dance moves. It soon became clear that Roberts didn't know a single sign and was merely imitating what she thought sign language looked like. For people who knew sign
that's
language, the situation
crazy.
was surreal, as Derlyn stood next to the city's most important people, waving her arms
Fake
around.
it till you make it.
It
Look.
turns out Derlyn had simply walked into the building and told the police department's spokesman that she'd been hired to interpret. Nobody bothered to check her credentials, but if they had, they would have discovered that while she had no sign experience, she did have a history of fraud, with prior convictions. Once the conference was over, the complaints about Derlyn flooded
That's
in, but it was too
crazy.
late. She was nowhere to be found, having fled the scene. Derlyn's actions weren't technically illegal, and she wasn't even paid for the conference, so it's unclear why she decided to sabotage the event. Either way, it's fair to say that it'll probably be her last interpreting gig. Although judging by some of those moves, she
That
might
shit
just have
funny
a
though,
future
I
as
ain't
a
gonna
backup
lie.
dancer.
I can't lie to you, yo. That shit funny though. I ain't gonna lie. That joint is mad funny, man. Why is she sitting in there doing the sign language, y'all? I feel like she thought she had a good plan. She thought she was gonna come in here. People was gonna get used to her, you know what I'm saying, acting like she knew sign language, and then she was gonna finesse herself up in this system, and also she's gonna get her a job, and she thought she was gonna do that, but no. If that's the only other thing I could think about, since she got a fraud history, you know. I'm thinking she was thinking somewhere along those lines, but I mean, it is what it is. That was a stupid plan. It was funny though. I appreciate her for like entertaining us though. That's lit. We need people like you, man, you know, to be very unsuccessful in your attempts to do stupid shit. But look, man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all have your notifications on always so y'all can get these videos as soon as they drop, you know. A lot of y'all been saying y'all still ain't getting notifications. Look, man, I don't even get notifications from my channel. I'm subscribed. That's real talk. I don't even get notifications. I got mine on always. But look, man, all I can do is keep uploading videos, and y'all just keep checking. I don't know. It is what it is, man. But see you on the next video.